That is against your confidentiality.
But you just said it's not on the show because it didn't happen. But it did happen.
It's still information that hasn't been aired.
Do you know that NDAs are violated if abuse or crime happens? Both have happened.
But there's no abuse or crime that happened. You've also posted private text messages with TLC and with Eli.
Yeah.
That violates your confidentiality.
No, my text messages are not in the confidentiality clause. Nothing to do with the show, with how I've been treated.
No, but you're revealing information about the payment schedule, about what the episodes have been delivered. That's not public knowledge.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it is because they're literally on the website, but yes.
Welcome back, folks. There's been a lot of buzz online about the new season of Welcome to Plathville, especially surrounding Ethan Plath's ex-wife Olivia and Micah Plath's ex-girlfriend Veronica. Both women have recently spoken out about their experiences with the Plath family, the show, and the network TLC. Some fans of the show have expressed skepticism about whether Olivia and Veronica are being truthful. However, just this morning, Veronica released an audio recording of a phone conversation with a producer from the production company. In the call, the producer does not dispute any of the claims Veronica made publicly about the show, specifically, her concerns about releasing information before the season airs. This recording has sparked debate among diehard supporters of the Plath family, those who believe the family can do no wrong and that these women are simply bitter exes. But the audio seems to contradict that narrative. It indicates that TLC isn't denying the statements Veronica has made about the show and the family. Veronica alleges that TLC has covered up deeply troubling behavior by the Plaths. Over time, the family has tried to discredit the women who've been married into it and later spoken out, including Olivia. Some viewers have taken the Plath's side, doubting Olivia's claims. But she, too, has released recordings, specifically of arguments between her and Ethan, during which he was allegedly drunk, yelling, and confronting her about issues like gender and homosexuality. While some defended Ethan, claiming the subject matter excused his behavior, what's often overlooked is how he spoke to Olivia. She says he wouldn't let her express her views, pointed his finger in her face, and even threatened to harm her friends for influencing her to be more liberal. Debates about controversial topics are one thing, but when those debates turn into threats, cornering, yelling, or even spitting, the issue becomes the behavior, not the topic. Olivia has also expressed her desire to be released from her contract with the show. Her main concern is that TLC continues to give a platform to people with harmful beliefs. She no longer aligns with the fundamentalist ideology the show promotes, and she claims the network actively misleads the public by omitting the Plath family's real views on sexuality, women, and more. Olivia later released journal entries she had kept during the time when tensions between her and Ethan were escalating. According to her writings, a particularly disturbing incident occurred during a trip to Europe. She claims Ethan removed the hinges from a door to prevent her from having any personal space or privacy. She described a pattern of constant arguments, with him repeatedly instigating fights. At one point, Olivia alleges that Ethan told her he would never have sex with her because she was a liberal. In another incident, she says he got in her face, slurring his words and spitting on her. Feeling trapped and unable to get him out of her personal space, she admits to slapping him. Ethan then called his sister and told her that Olivia had hit him. Olivia said she felt completely unable to escape the situation. This troubling account of escalating emotional and physical conflict was later echoed by Micah Plath's ex-girlfriend, Veronica. In a Reddit post, Veronica expressed hope that TLC would release a filmed clip in which Ethan allegedly tells her that, because she has gay friends, he wanted to slit her throat like the pig she is. Veronica also made a serious accusation that Ethan, Micah, and Isaac once attempted to set Lydia Plath's husband on fire when they first met him, believing he was gay. Her point, and Olivia's as well, isn't just that these individuals hold homophobic beliefs. It's that their attitudes have allegedly crossed into violent and dangerous territory. Veronica also posted a conversation she had with TLC about speaking publicly. Both she and Olivia are currently under contract with TLC and are allegedly facing legal threats for speaking out about what's happening behind the scenes, what they claim TLC is actively covering up. They both say the network, along with the Plath family, is trying to frame them as the problem in order to protect the show and its financial interests. Regardless of personal beliefs, they argue that the situation becomes truly alarming when it escalates to threats or acts of physical harm. Here's a clip of Veronica's conversation with the TLC production team. Veronica, but you just said it's not on the show because it didn't happen. But it did happen. It's still information that hasn't been aired. Do you know that NDAs don't apply when abuse or a crime occurs? TLC representative. But there was no abuse or crime that happened. You've also posted private messages with TLC and Eli. That violates your confidentiality. Veronica. No, my text messages aren't included in the confidentiality clause. This isn't about the show. This is about how I've personally been treated.
Olivia Plath is shedding some light on her experiences in her marriage to ex Ethan Plath. The Welcome to Plathville star took to Instagram this week to reflect on a recent personal milestone. She began, "Last week I shared that it has been 2 years since I started the process of getting divorced. So many of you sent messages of love and encouragement, and I wanted to say thank you. It was truly the best decision for me, and I have received countless messages from other women saying that watching me walk away and choose better for myself gave them courage to leave their situations. I am very touched." Olivia went on to share her perspective on her time with Ethan, suggesting that there was more to it than what viewers saw. She wrote, "Many people assume that because my relationship was on TV, they know all the details of what happened, even behind closed doors when cameras were not around. They can't fathom that maybe systems, networks, or individuals would hide extremely problematic behavior so that they aren't canceled. They also can't fathom that maybe I didn't or don't have the power or legal clearance to expose or even tell the unfiltered."
No, but you're revealing information about the payment schedule and the delivery of episodes. Details that aren't considered public. Yes, they are. They're literally on the website. What exactly is on the website? The list of released episodes, their titles, and scheduled air dates. That's all been made public. But the information you're sharing from the text messages and your posts about the show, that hasn't been publicly released. What information, specifically? I'm just pointing out that statements like, "I hope they air the part where he said, 'I'm going to slit your throat like the pig you are.' That's not general show information. But that statement wasn't a spoiler or a confirmation. I said I hope they air it. I didn't say they will. Veronica, I don't think this conversation is going anywhere productive. Our goal was to understand the nature of the security concern and what kind of support you needed from us. I'm not sure what we can do at this point, but I can speak to TLC about it. Part of what we're asking is for you to please stop posting that kind of content online. I won't be doing that." Later, on her Instagram, she posted, "Want to hear something funny? There was never any abuse or crime, according to the network profiting from it. Gaslighting the audience while protecting predators? Classic TLC, Discovery, Warner Brothers. Anyone with a conscience knows better." So, the dispute wasn't really about whether her claims were true or false. The issue, from the network's side, was that she was sharing private text messages and behind-the-scenes details on Reddit. Things like upcoming content or personal concerns about the show, before the episodes were released. It wasn't that her posts were inaccurate or misleading. Rather, it was that she was leaking confidential information. She also pushed back on the idea that there was no abuse or crime. In fact, she shared a series of Instagram stories contradicting that. One showed Isaac drinking underage. Another showed Lydia and her husband drinking, also implying underage alcohol use. She referenced a violent fight between Isaac and Micah as assault and battery. She pointed out her own DUI, Kim Plath's, which was never shown in the series. She even posted a photo of a blood-stained shirt, reportedly Micah's, after his fight with Isaac. But what stood out most was that, instead of the executive denying the violent threat allegedly made by Ethan, "I'll slit your throat like the pig you are," they were more upset that Veronica mentioned it publicly before the episode aired.
What's on the website?
What episodes are out and the names and the titles, like.
Well, when it's premiering has been exhibited, but not some of the information in the text messages and what you're posting about the show.
Which information?
I'm just letting you know that the information about, I hope they air the part where he said, "I'm going to slit your throat like the pig you are." That's
That's not information about the show. It says, "I hope they do."
It's not they will.
It's not they will. It's I hope they do.
Okay, Veronica, I don't think this conversation is going to be productive. We wanted to get an understanding of what the security issue risk that had involvement with us and what was needed from us. I don't know what we can offer. I can discuss further with TLC. Part of this is us asking for you to please stop posting those posts.
I will not be doing that. No, I will be speaking up. Sorry.
Okay, that's at your election, but I just wanted to remind you of what you agreed to in your release.
Yeah, I didn't agree to abuse or anything, but thank you.
These networks enforce extremely strict non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and release forms that prohibit cast members from revealing any details about upcoming seasons or anything that was filmed. However, under the law, NDAs can be difficult to enforce, especially when they attempt to silence individuals from speaking out about abuse or potential criminal behavior. The loophole Veronica is relying on is the argument that crimes were committed during filming, and that criminal acts cannot be protected by an NDA. Specifically, she's alleging that Ethan threatened to slit her throat. The network doesn't seem to be denying that this threat was made. They're just upset that she disclosed it before the season aired. This same network has a history of supporting families with deeply problematic and abusive backgrounds. For instance, they continued to promote the Duggar family, even though Josh Duggar is now in prison for CSAM, child sexual abuse material. And it was widely reported that the family helped cover up both his offenses and the use of extreme corporal punishment and isolation on their children. They've also platformed other individuals with serious criminal records, such as Jeffrey Paschal from 90 Day Fiancé, who was imprisoned for domestic abuse. Mike, another 90 Day Fiancé cast member, recently convicted for CSAM-related crimes, and Toby Willis, who was convicted of child sexual assault. The network appears willing to overlook these disturbing facts to keep their programming alive. In Paschal's case, he remained on the show even while facing 15 to 20 years in prison and was given airtime to disparage his victim. It's alarming what the network is willing to air in the name of entertainment. They often sanitize the content to such an extent that the public never sees the full truth of who these people are, likely because revealing the truth would jeopardize the show. Similar allegations of severe threats and hate crimes have been made against cast members from other TLC shows as well. Anyone familiar with reality television knows that participants often have little to no rights. They're not protected by the Screen Actors Guild or any union specific to reality TV. As a result, they're forced to remain silent behind harsh NDAs that prevent them from speaking about their experiences. TLC has tried to hint at the controversy by releasing teasers for the upcoming season. These include a shot of a blood-stained shirt and footage of Micah after having his nose reconstructed, presumably following a physical altercation. But again, the fact that an incident of that severity, essentially criminal assault, is being aired on television is deeply concerning. Under Florida and Georgia law, making terroristic threats is a criminal offense. If there is footage of him threatening Veronica in Florida, especially with something as serious as saying he would slit her throat, that could qualify as a second-degree felony. TLC is honestly a mess. I rarely comment on their shows because, more often than not, the content is misleading or entirely fabricated. If you followed my coverage of Sister Wives, you know how much of it is contrived for TV. But I also know enough about how this network operates to say this. When individuals come forward, they're often dismissed by fans and gaslit by the network into staying silent. Regardless of whether you believe Veronica or Olivia, it's clear, at least in my opinion, that something is happening behind the scenes that's not being shown to viewers. And if it's true that he made such a disturbing threat toward Veronica simply because she has gay friends, that's an extremely serious matter. What's also evident is that neither Veronica nor Olivia seems willing to be silenced. And even if you chalk them up as scorned ex-girlfriends or bitter ex-wives, does that justify them having to endure threats, stalking, break-ins, or fear for their safety? I don't think so. They have every right to speak out. Meanwhile, the Plaths have stayed silent, likely because of strict NDAs. They're also known for avoiding police involvement, no matter what happens, so even if something illegal occurred, the chances of it being reported are minimal. Of course, all this controversy only fuels publicity for the new season. TLC hasn't made any public statements addressing these serious allegations. According to the audio released by Veronica, their main concern seems to be that she violated the confidentiality agreement, not whether what she's saying is actually true. They're simultaneously denying that any crimes or abuse occurred, while also admitting that Ethan made a threat. That's contradictory. Legally, that kind of threat would be considered a crime if reported. If the children aren't receiving a proper education or are being neglected, that qualifies as abuse. And if there was an altercation between Isaac and Micah, that would be domestic violence. Sure, TLC might argue that it makes for good television, but for the people who didn't sign up for this level of trauma, it's anything but entertainment. And it sounds like the network isn't even showing the worst of it. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching.